kind of talk and start with, talk about being quarantined right now. How is everything going for you? Where are you actually located?
I am located in the Tahoe, Reno area in California.
Okay.
So I am in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. I live outside of a town of like 2,000, and so not a lot going on, which is a good thing. And it's gorgeous. When it first started, we were getting dumped with snow, and winter finally started appearing. So it was good to kind of help being, oh, I'm snowed in feeling, instead of, oh, you're not leaving your house for a few months. So it helped, but now it's gorgeous outside, and all I want to do is be outside. So luckily we can do that around here. We don't have a lot of neighbors. We have some neighbors, but it is good to kind of know that there are people if we need people, and everybody kind of stays their distance.
There's got to be like trails and places for you to get outdoors out there, I'm
Definitely.
sure.
Yes, lots and lots of them. Yeah.
Nice. So how long have you been staying at home?
The last day that I was in town in the big city, my last massage that I got was on March 13th.
Okay.
And I was supposed to leave 2 days later to go to LA for the West Coast Umphrey's run. So that was right when all of that happened. So I've been pretty much home since.
Yeah, it's about the same time they called school here in New York State. It was like the 17th, I believe, whatever that Monday was, of March. So it's been about the same time. So you had how many shows you're going to go to Iceland to, and you're going to be in LA. So
yep.
Talk a little bit about that.
It all was all crammed in together, which was so crazy. I remember saying to my husband, like, we have never had so much fun stuff all packed into one tiny area of the year, even, and it was like, oh, and then they announced Humble too, and it was like, oh, like, wait, what? Like, how can you give us all this fun stuff all at once? So I had 11 shows that I was seeing, because I was I grew up in St. Louis, so that St. Louis run was right after Iceland. I was going to spend 10 days in Iceland and then go visit them, and then go to New York, which was like next week or this weekend.
This coming weekend, we were going to be there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been harder for me when I was supposed to be somewhere on. So this time leading up to, next week, something like that, has been, I've noticed it's a little bit harder energetically, with knowing that I was going to be somewhere and you're not going. So I look forward to kind of seeing if any of that shifts once May comes. But of course, then there's Red Rocks, and then there's this and that and all the other fun stuff we had. But it certainly puts it all into perspective of how much fun we have.
Yeah. Yeah. How not only just like Umphrey stuff I had planned, but like my kids had things that were going on in their lives that were exciting, and all these things. But then also how grateful we are as Umphrey's fans to have all that to look forward to in such a short amount of time is amazing too. We're just super grateful for that.
Yeah. No, I look forward that some of it is postponed. I don't know if any of that's really going to happen. I have fingers crossed that hopefully at some point it will. It's an interesting time that I'm not planning things, like I've always been not like a planner in the sense of that I'm going to plan every day, but like that I'm buying a plane ticket or knowing that I'm going somewhere. And that's
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, like, oh, let's go here, and oh, let's book this, and tickets, and buying plane tickets and buying concert tickets and buying this and that. So it's very interesting to realize how much time I put into that,
Mm-hmm.
because that was like my fun. Like, oh, I'm having
Mm-hmm.
a bad day, let's book a plane ticket somewhere fun, you know? Like, that's one way to like guarantee that you're gonna go have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And it gives you something to look forward to. That's why that my husband and I decided to do fancy night for the kids on Saturday, because
Fun.
there's there wasn't anything to look forward to. And
Right.
so they were super excited, and I was too. I'll admit it. I was super excited all week, and
Yeah.
dressed up, and we danced, and we had food, and so you just don't have something to look forward to is, I think, definitely the hardest too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm noticing the same thing. And I had my birthday, and that was
That's
something
right.
that I was looking forward to. And I had like a chill session with Jake, and we had that chill session with Joel and Ryan, and Zoom
Hmm.
birthday party, and you know, that kind of thing. So now that that's gone, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Tell
for
me
sure.
more, how are you?
That was a lot of fun on Friday, though. That I'm grateful that you invited me. That was so much fun, and to celebrate your awesomeness and to chill with them was like a little therapy session. I
I
feel
agree.
too. It was, and I think it was good for them too. I think that them being able to connect with fans, not only on the lesson level, but on the chill level, to spend this
Yeah.
time, I think it's just as good for them as it is for us, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And just because that's what I was gonna do, you know, like that's what I look forward to a lot when I see shows. So going and not having that to some degree, it's just, you know, that's what I was missing. I was like, oh, I want to see them and say hi and, you know, do all those things. So it's good to have that opportunity. I'm glad that that website is here for people to learn and for us to hang and have fun, and to be
Hmm.
able to support our friends too, you know.
Absolutely, what they're doing is such an awesome thing. So who is quarantined with you? It's you and your husband,
Yep, just us and Frankie, who's hiding behind me.
right there. Just
Hi,
chilling.
Frankie. Um, yep, it's just us. And my husband is in the biofuels industry. And so fuel is still a necessity. So he's still been working. And it's really helping me have normality in my life with him still doing his thing. Like,
Hmm.
yes, he has, you know, some extra time, and he is home more than usual, which is great.
Hmm.
But as far as just having a normal feeling with the house and the structure, and you know, him being gone and him coming back and all that, it helps me to feel somewhat normal, even with me not leaving, that he is still working and doing his thing. So it works.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my husband is still working. And it's, it's a mixed feeling, but I am grateful for that exact reason. It has that sense of normalcy to it. And I think it's good for him too, to have
Yeah,
that feeling of normal, and,
for
give him
sure.
something to do too, honestly.
Totally. Yeah, no, it's when we were snowed in, my husband was snowed in for like 2 days. And afterwards, when he was leaving, he's like, "Ah, it feels like I've been here for a month." It's like, it's only been 2 days,
It's only
honey.
been 2 days. Imagine how he would feel now if he was not working.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He's a busy, busy, busy person. So I have no doubt that he would just get stuff done and be super productive. But yet I'm grateful that he's able to work and have somewhat of a normal existence going on for him. It works.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure it's that case for pretty much everybody right now, having that little sense of normal. So
Right.
talk about your marriage. How long have you and Jamie been married?
We've been married for 21 years.
Wow, very nice.
Yep. We, uh, yeah, 21 wonderful years. We work really well together. Relationships are not easy for anybody. So, I'm grateful that we have a lasting relationship and we're able to, to make it work.
Yeah, that's what it's about. And I say the same thing. I was just talking to a friend the other day about this, that it even if you have two people that, you know, get along so well and they connect on all these levels and everything, like, you still have to work at it. You still have to be intentional of feelings and all of these other things. And I think it's important that we're honest about that, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you like each other and whatever, so you're good. You don't have to do anything now. So yeah, so it's great that you say that too. So what do you think is the biggest, if you could say, one of the biggest things of having a marriage that lasts 20 years?
I would say respect and honest communication, because if you can respect who a person is and why they're here on earth in general, like as a human being here, then it takes a lot of like the pettiness away from some of the just everyday things, and really seeing the beauty in our imperfections, because we are all crazy. All of us are crazy. Crazy. And like, can my crazy match your crazy? And can we make this work? So the communication helps so that you truly look at the relationship, or any relationship, be it a friendship or a marriage or any kind of relationship. Can you talk about it as a relationship, like as a thing? Like, let's talk, like, oh, I feel so connected to you. I think we're doing great right now, you know, or like, you know, I'm kind of feeling disconnected. Let's work on this. Or, you know, just really like communicating as if your relationship is an actual thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that's how I approach it, even with my children, obviously, because that's a relationship. And the way I explain it to my daughter is like your bank account, you know? And so you have this thing, a tangible thing that is your bank account, and what you're putting in or taking out. And I'll use sort of different examples of what would be in each category. And for her, it made perfect sense. So I think something like that, when you do think of your relationship as a thing, then it definitely changes your perspective on it, and what you should be doing to be intentional inside of it. So.
Right. Yeah, because it is, you know, and friendships too. Friendships with girlfriends too, you know, or any just friendships in general. It's like, hey, I'm feeling like, you know, we're disconnected, or is there something wrong, or something like that? Because it you know, it deserves to be talked about too. It deserves to be praised. It deserves to tell you in your heart, like, this means something to me. Because I also feel like people will push you to get you to talk about the way that you feel. And so if you talk about the way that you feel without being pushed to it, then you don't have to get to that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's
absolutely.
like just telling your girlfriend, like, hey, this friendship means a lot to me. You mean a lot to me. Instead of, you know, maybe bickering and fighting and then trying to get you to say that.
Right. And again, that sounds just like, you know, with my daughter. I'm like, all right, you use your actual words, and then we'll get somewhere.
Right, exactly.
So let's talk about your beautiful jewelry that you make. Tell us the name of your jewelry business and why you started it, and was making jewelry something you're always interested in?
The name of my line is Divine Healing Jewelry, and I I've been making jewelry since I was a little girl. And it was just something that I always loved to do and brought me a lot of joy. And then I stopped doing it for a while. In high school, I didn't really do it. And then I blew glass in the 90s.
It's very cool.
Um, and so I was always artistic. Like I did a lot of pottery and singing and things like that. And then I started blowing glass. And then when we built our house back in the late 90s, I didn't have a space to blow glass. So that was when I started getting really into gemstones and healing in general. And so I started turn to beads and making jewelry with gemstones. So it was first gemstones that I was working with in general, and then with like websites and being able to like order things for people or to have things online, it was really challenging because most of my gemstone stuff is all one of a kind. So if I had something, it was like, oh, I have to put this up on the website, but then I sold it, or I couldn't have a shopping cart, or I couldn't have things that people could buy. And so that was when I started working with plain silver, which was all recreatable. And
Hmm.
that is when I took my love of music and love of jewelry and put those two together to create some of the lines that are all music inspired.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And your stuff is so beautiful. I have to admit, I still have to invest in a piece, but I haven't decided which one because they're all awesome. They really are. And I'll make sure to put all your stuff in the notes and descriptions and all that so everybody can find your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about your other business, your life coaching business, which I personally am super grateful for you. You are my life coach, and we've um, almost a year, I feel, maybe not quite, that we've been working together, and just personally and professionally and everything in between. You've just been an amazing friend anyways. But then to have you on my team has been such a beautiful thing. So
Oh,
talk more
thanks.
about your business, and you talked about getting into healing and stuff. So obviously there's a journey from there to where you are now. So take us on
Yes.
that.
Well, I am a jack of all trades. I enjoy doing a lot of things just so that I don't get burnt out on just doing one. But I started my healing journey in 1995 when I was dealing with a whole bunch of sciatica and back pain and stuff like that, and I ended up going to massage school. And so that was what brought me out west to California and was my first dabbling into massage and healing and just the healing arts in general. And so with doing that, I started learning all sorts of different healing modalities for releasing trauma, releasing disease, getting to our root core issues to heal in general. And so with that, a lot of coaching or talking in general about what's going on was kind of at the forefront of every modality that I learned. And for like 20 something years, I just took every class I could take, every workshop, every teacher that I could study with that I was connected to. And I really just soaked it all in and learned as much healing as I could, just to have a really broad toolbox, because every body is so different, and everybody needs something different. So I found that I needed to have a really big tool bag to be able to help people the way that they needed it. And so with doing massage, I've always focused on injury recovery, keeping people out of pain, that type of thing, which I still do. Well, I'm not doing massage right now, but that is still a profession that I have and that I practice. And so as I'm switching, most massage therapists don't last over 20 years in profession. And so I was just like, how can I take my healing practice and focus that more on the other things that I'm good at, which is talking people through their stuff as like a life coach type thing. So I've been working to try to find a way to put it all together, because some people really like structure and packages and just the little pieces of it. So I've been working to put that together and have a cohesive message and understanding. And then 2 years ago, 3 years ago, was when I found a program that I teach, which is called the Dream Builder program. And that was created by a woman named Mary Morrissey, and she put together a really great package for people who like structure. And so as I was switching over, I wanted to find something that that had all of my teachings, because all of my teachings are spiritual teachings. All of them are based in universal truth and universal knowledge and things like that. So I needed to have something that had that as the foundation, because it's everything that I talk about. So I was happy to finally find a program that I connected with in that way, so that I could start offering that. And so it was really there that I switched gears and was like, okay, this is really something that I'm good at. This is something that I want to do. So in the last 3 years, I've focused more on advertising that as something I do, and really doing it in a bigger, more visual way, instead of just like, on the side talking about that that's what I did, but really putting the time and effort into the advertising and a website and more programs and more writing coaching content and all of that stuff. So yeah. It's I'm every day I'm grateful right now that I did make that change, and I did have the foresight to like have everything in place right now to be able to serve in a bigger way and help people through this, because this is really big. This is big stuff going on right now. And there's no doubt that as we look back at our lives, that this is going to play a big part of that for us, whether it's before quarantine, before coronavirus. I don't know how we're going to talk about it moving forward, but we will remember this. You can't forget that this is happening in our history.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And in some way, there's going to be, everyone either is or will be, or something will, everyone is changing in some way from this, whether they want it or not.
Right.
is a whole totally different episode.
For sure. And everybody's going through the same thing, but differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we truly are experiencing this all in different ways, and there's nobody going through it in the exact same way and with the exact same emotions and the same people and the same situations. And some people have jobs, some people have savings, some people, it's like everybody's just so different. So we have to honor where people are and respect where people are, and come at them with so much love and compassion for where they are.
Absolutely. So I mean, we're talking about healing and especially now with the world, let's talk about the healing power of music. I mean, anyone that's tuning into this and has been listening for this long will be able to have a moment where that has happened to them. So talk about that.
Yes. Has always huge of my life. First, radio and MTV came out in the 80s, and we would watch Thriller every half hour on the half hour, and just MTV generation, I guess I would call myself to some degree. And so music was everything. Me and my brother constantly listened to music, so it was always, always, always in my life, and going to concerts was as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then in high school, I found Fish. Back in 1991, I started listening to Fish, and before that, the Grateful Dead. And so I was always, into going to concerts and that kind of thing. And I also sang from a very early age. So it was truly, it lived in my soul. Like music truly is like the heartbeat of my soul. I mean, that's just the way that I flow, and it's a really great way to meet like-minded people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always used music as a way to meet my tribe and to vibrate at we vibrate at the same frequency as people who listen to the same type of music. So I've always used it as a way to connect with my people and find my people, and to be able to have that in my life. But seeing live music has always been my outlet, my way that I receive and give and heal. And it's a ceremony, it's a vortex of healing, it's the way that I connect with source the most, it's the way that I can get out of my body and get out of my mind and get out of everything and just tune in. Some people would consider that like their meditation or their church. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's my church.
100%. Yeah.
And so that's always been my connection to source.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely feel the same way. And music for me, my dad passed away in 2006, and him and I had so many memories and bonds with music. And that's how I will know that my dad is there. Like I'll hear a song on the radio or something, and so it's the exact same thing. And I'm sure other people have had that same feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that connection to the other side. The veil is so thin in those live music moments because it's like the creation of music in general. And so as we are there, our energy is there to be able to expand and receive and give, and to create in those live music moments. So as we're experiencing that, we can open up to magic and miracles and all of these things that can happen in our lives, whether it's healing something that we're ready to give and expel and get rid of in our life, or something that we want to attract. But it's that veil of the other side and this side, and it becomes blurred when we're in those moments of live music, especially.
Absolutely. And that what you're talking about is the part that I'm missing the most now, because that was your place. That was, your, as you said, your church and your people. and you don't have that. But again, we're lucky that we do still have our live streams and, you know, the Zoom calls and things like that. But that's exactly it.
Yeah. And
So
it's hard to know when that's going to happen or anything like that. You know, I know that at some point it will. And I just hold that faith, whether it's years or months or days or weeks or hours, it doesn't really matter, but I know that it will be back and that we can have that at some point. So I'm holding on to that. And we still are able to go back and watch videos and go back and do that type of thing to watch and connect and still talk to these people, talk to our friends who we are in those moments, so we can pick up the phone and have conversations with people instead of rocking out or traveling together.
Right. Yeah. And I know I mentioned this when we were hanging out Friday, but I feel like I'm connecting with people more. You know, I'll text all my various friends from all over the country and more because, you know, legitimately want to check on everybody and make sure everybody's doing all right from day to day, because so many things are changing. And so in a weird way, that's kind of nice. I don't know, like I'm grateful for it because I'm connecting with people more often. So, you know, our relationships are building because we're connecting more. So
yes,
I don't know, a weird silver lining, I guess, in all of this is that we're actually connecting more.
Yeah, I feel like I'm connecting more for sure. I do. And I'm noticing who's reaching out to me, noticing who I'm called to reach out to. And that's how we know, like, that these people mean so much to us, and that's what we're missing. And so I feel like I am connecting more now as well. And when we do talk, it's a little bit more soulful than like, hey, how's the weather? Because it's life is so much deeper now. Like we're real life things instead of just like, oh, the weather, hey, how are you? It's like it's a little bit deeper than that right now. Like, oh, is your family on the brink of collapse? Like, are you like, will you have a job to come back to? Like bigger things than just like, hey, what's up?
Absolutely. And I think it's also been fantastic to see people I know throughout the community who this would be happening anyways. Even if there was no pandemic, I know for sure that this would be happening in our community anyways, because that's just how our family is. But there, you know, people would need thermometers or whatever, and they are sending things to each other and making sure that we have what we need. And it's so beautiful to have that. And like I said, we already were like that, you know, all of us in the community, but to see that still happening is awesome.
Yeah, I've found a lot of joy in sending packages to people in the last recent bit. Like I had some extra thermometers, like you said, and like there's people that really did need them. So I've been enjoying putting together little packages and sending things off to people. And like we were saying, you know, just letting people know that you care and that you're there. And this is different times, and it's been a long time since I've written a snail mail letter to somebody, you know. So it's a new world. Why not embrace it in new ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, we adjust and move forward and do what we can. So let's switch it around and let's talk about some Umphrey's Mcgee. So tell us when you first were introduced to Umphrey's and what your initial reaction was.
Well, Umphrey's Mcgee is one of my favorite subjects. I could talk about it all day long.
Same.
I first stumbled upon Umphrey's Mcgee in 2001 at High Sierra, and I will never, ever forget when this happened. But we were on the main stage late night, and well, not late night, but the closing final show for the evening on the main stage was Leftover Salmon. And one of the guys in Leftover Salmon was so drunk that he was like falling over on stage, and the show sucked. I mean, we were just like, what are we doing here? Like, this is awful. Like, let's get out of here. And so my husband and I like walked out of the show, and we just like all of a sudden stumbled upon this the stage, and we were like, whoa, what is this? Like, this is really interesting. And going back and listening, we walked up, and they were playing Syncopated Strangers. And so we were just like in awe of like, what is this? And it was a really big stage, and deep. And they actually don't even have that stage at High Sierra anymore. Look to see, we never walked up to see like who they were. Was it girls? Was it guys? Were they 80? Were they 14? Like, we never walked up to like check it out any further. We just like stood in the back, literally with our jaw to the floor, like the floor. Like, we were just like, oh my God.
What is this?
What is this? This is amazing. So your question of like, we were literally hooked from the first note, and like we had just left my brother Rick and my best friend at the time, and at the main stage, and we were like, should we go get them? Should we go get them? Like, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not missing anything.
I'm not missing any of this. And then within like 10 minutes, they were both standing next to us, because like I said, we were in the back, and they had wandered over too. And it was amazing. I mean, we were just like so amazed. And I remember they played a fuzz that night, and just a whole bunch of other things. It was just like, it was amazing. It was truly amazing. And I remember my brother left High Sierra early because they were playing in LA like that next day or something. He was like, I'm leaving. He's like, I'm leaving the festival to go home early to see these guys, which he said that there was like 10, 20 people in the venue. So I'm sure that he's glad that he did now. But
yeah,
we were definitely hooked from the get-go. We were both very enamored. And then it was really interesting to like find out, oh, they're like my age. And because like I said, I didn't know if they were guys or girls or both, or I mean, we just had no idea.
That's so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So how many shows have you seen at this point?
I am right around 220.
Nice.
Oh, wait, 230, 240. I was going to hit 250 this year, but that's not happening anymore.
That's not happening now.
That's probably not happening anymore.
That's okay.
So yeah, so I'm like for 35, 40.
Very nice.
Yes, my Umphreys beat my fish at this point. They were neck and neck there last year, but now I'm over the edge with Umphreys. And I'm grateful for every single show that I've seen. Like, I truly consider it an honor to witness Umphrey's Mcgee's live concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is just an honor. Like, they are special. They are incredible. They are deep. They are life-changing. They are just soulful and just they're just so open-hearted and amazing human beings, or non-human beings, but you know, here on earth right now they're human beings. But they truly are incredible, and that they've all found each other, and that they're touring and give us so much. it's just humbling.
It really is. It really is, and exactly everything that you said. So, is there in all those shows, what is your favorite place to see them play?
That's a good question. I love Red Rocks. Red Rocks is really special. Just even in general, I mean, the dinosaurs walked there and like the Beatles played there. So right there, it's pretty incredible. It's just the Beatles and the dinosaurs. Um, so I would say the Red Rocks is really special for me. The Tabernacle is one of my favorite venues in the country. Like hanging off the edge of one of those balconies is just my happy place. Like I love the Tabernacle. I love it. I love it. I love it. So that has to be mentioned. But I love the Riverside too. Which one of my favorite shows came from, which was 11/1/13 at the Riverside. That Halloween run was so special. So special. And Jamie and I were celebrating our 15th wedding anniversary that weekend.
Oh, nice.
And I got a final word request that I wanted, so it's always special.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have a favorite song? I mean, I get a mixed answer here. Sometimes people like they definitely have an answer, and then some people are not totally sure. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I don't have a favorite song per se, because there's so many that like just melt my heart so much. So much. Like the end of Puppet String, the end of Divisions, the end of Haji, just all of those. I'm a lyric girl, so I just those sappy Bayless, just warm and fuzzies, are what like really get me. 2x2, so good. So I don't necessarily have like this is my favorite song. And then every time I think I do, then it changes. So
For sure.
I try not to, I love it all. I really do. I really do.
Because they're each a different piece of the bigger puzzle. So, they each play an important part, I think.
They do. And it's just poetry for my soul. I mean, Brendan Bayliss, the way that he writes music is unlike anybody else. Like it's just it's poetry, it's lyrical genius, it's so special. And over the years, after seeing him 20 plus years, it's like, whoa. Well, actually 20, yeah. Math today. So like not 20 plus years.
You don't need it.
Almost 20. They keep getting better and better. It was like, how can these songs and these lyrics keep getting better and better and better and better? And sure enough, they do. It's so amazing. I mean, even this newest crop of music with like seasons and attachments, and it's just those lyrics are just absolutely incredible. Like I certainly can't write music like that. That's for I mean, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. It really is. And one of the things that I love about Umphrey's in general is that they know that they are on to something special. Like they know that something here is worth dying for. And they understand that they're here to heal. And I've had conversations with some of them, and they know that they're healers in general, of like that's one of their missions here, that's one of the reasons that they're here, is to heal through music, through being who they are, whatever it is the case, it doesn't even matter, but they realize that they're healers. And that's probably one of the reasons that I connect to it. And that's one of the reasons that we all get healed so much from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, every time I talk with them and another one says that, or it comes out in another way, it's just like ding ding ding. Okay, well, this is why I love you guys so much.
So you mentioned, you know, talking with them about being healers. It's obviously a little bit of a deeper subject than just, hey, will you sign this sort of a conversation.
Right.
So talk about your friendship with the guys in Umphrey's Mcgee.
Literally, I can honestly say that they are all some of my favorite human beings on the planet. Like, they are just, they have the kindest souls and the kindest hearts, and they are just so nice. Like, just nice and humble and caring and kind. I could just go on and on and on about how they are as human beings. And back in like 01, 02, 04, all the way up, you know, back in the early days, there weren't a lot of people around. So it was easy to like meet them and like kind of get to like hang a little or chat or say what you wanted to say type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that that's how it started to some degree. But I have a really good connection with Brendan. And he was like the first person that I kind of like reached out to and chatted more with, and had a really deep connection with him. And he, I'm a massage therapist, and so I would kind of like talk with him a lot about he had some carpal tunnel type things and pain and that kind of thing. And so I would talk with him about that, and that's what kind of sparked that closeness with him of like hanging out and chatting on a regular basis, and like me working on him, or other guys who needed it and that kind of thing. So yes, generally when I have a conversation with somebody, it goes deep. Like, I'm just not really a surface, like, how's the weather? You know, how's your dog? Or, I mean, yeah, my dog's a deep subject, but, you know what I'm saying? Like, in general, I like to have deep conversations. So when I am talking with somebody, that it usually does go there to some degree, especially Jake. Like, he's not talking about foofy things. Like, he goes in just as much as I do for like going deep and like, and now for real talk, you know, because that's how we get to know people, and that's how we expand our awareness in general. Because if we're always just having like these surface conversations, then we're not going to feel comfortable enough to expand our awareness, to learn something new from somebody else, and also to open our minds and our hearts to really seeing what and feeling what this person is saying and trying to get across. So that would be one of the reasons why I've always loved to have conversations with Jake, because he definitely really goes there. And Ryan he's amazing. Like, every time I talk with him, I realize something more. And he's one of the people that back this is a long time ago now, but you know, he said to me that he did realize that he does healing and that kind of thing. And so that, like, throughout time, all of them have kind of mentioned that in other ways. But when I realize that they realize that they're doing it, then it's even more of a like, oh, you get it. So they get it. They all get it. And Joel, he's so amazing. I love them all. Like, I love talking to Joel. Like, I could talk to Joel all day long, especially when Joel is in a really good mood. He's got loose lips, and I'm asking all sorts of questions. So, is there going to be an Humble? So, where are the New Year's this year? So, are you going back to St. Louis anytime soon? And so, yeah, and Andy has a heart of gold. He is so sweet, and I love any chance I do get to talk with him. And Chris, oh my goodness, that man is something special. I mean, I was just watching Reel to Reel again the other day. It came on after the webcast that they were doing on YouTube, and the idea that Umphrey's found this guy is just, it's a miracle. It's a total miracle, because I was around back in Miro days and when things moved over and switched over, and it was definitely like this is interesting. I wonder how this is going to work out. But it was literally seamless, like seamless. As a fan, it was seamless. And it's all because of Chris Myers. And I can honestly say that Chris Myers is one of the most amazing musicians on the planet. Like, his vocal range, the way that he plays the drums, like, I mean, he is just an animal. He's an animal. So all of them are so amazing. They're just so special, and they have a special place in my heart, all of them. As with my Umphrey's family as well, like, we have a really amazing family. Like, I listen to Fish, I listen to String Cheese, and we have really special families, but there is something about Umphrey's family that really is different, and ranging in ages too. Like, there's a lot of younger Umphrey's fans in their 20s that I connect so deeply to, and then there's a lot of people my age in their 40s and 50s and above that I connect to as well. It's like, age doesn't matter. All it matters is rage, rest, repeat, and just connecting in that way. And everybody, yeah, it's a really special family that we have. It's so beautiful, and it's because of them. It's because of the boys. So I love the Umphrey's organization. I think that all of them are so kind and caring, and they make it all work, you know, Vince and KB and just the crew in general. Like, they all have like this vibrational frequency. Like, they're all really similar, you know. Like, anytime anybody is like come into the organization, like when Bobby came in, or when any of them gets hired, it's like, oh, you fit. Like, this totally is like, I can see, like, you guys are, it works, you know. Because everybody truly vibrates at that frequency. So everybody's just been really kind and respectful and inviting. Like, it's not a lot of like cliques and you're not allowed here, or you know, fights amongst people. Everybody's pretty cohesive and kind and inviting and welcoming and warm, where some other groups may not have that so much.
Yeah. And I feel that there are people that are in this community that are 100% closer than my actual family, people that I would consider, you know, brothers and sisters and things like that. So to have that connection, and then we're like, oh yeah, then we love the same band, you know, so to have that is so amazing too.
Absolutely.
So talk about a way that Umphrey's has inspired you in your life.
That's a good question. Inspired me. I would say the lyrics in general. They inspire me. They, like, there's just ways that it just like gets in your head and you're like, Yes, yes, like that is inspiring. And in my jewelry, for sure, where I wanted to create jewelry that somebody could look at and be reminded of their favorite band. So whether it's a bracelet that says life is only living in the present tense, or a so that you can look down and be reminded, like, oh yay, that makes me happy, you know. And so that inspires me. And lyrics in general are generally what inspire me the most, which is why I did my lyric affirmation bracelets, just so that we could be reminded of these lyrics that are affirmations and mean something to us, and can be reminded of the music that speaks to our hearts.
Yeah. So what is a bucket place that you would go to, that you want to see Umphrey's play? And I mean, it could be, I guess, anywhere in the world now, because
Right.
anything is possible. So
Right.
some place that you would like to see them play.
I'd love to see them play in Iceland
Yeah, me too.
at a harpa musical. Yes, please. Now I've discovered that I really want to see this. I would love to see them play at the pyramids.
Yes, that would be cool.
I'm not holding my breath, but it has happened, and even I think it was Dead & Co. went there last year. So this is still happening. I that would be like a bucket list item. That would be amazing. Or Peru would be awesome. And Hawaii.
Yeah.
Hawaii is a special place for me. We went there for the first time in, I want to say, '02. For String Cheese, they played there, and that's what brought us there for the first time, and we just fell in love with it. So I try to go as often as I can. So seeing them would be amazing. And then here in the US, someplace that I haven't seen Umphrey's and would love to is Horning's Hideout, which almost happened this year. I mean, that one hasn't been canceled, but I doubt it would happen. And they were only playing like one set.
Mm-hmm.
So a full-on Umphrey's weekend at Horning's Hideout.
And where is that again?
It's out kind of like in the middle of Oregon.
Okay.
Maybe like an hour from Portland, something like that. I could be wrong on the timing of it. But it's like this magical little land, and there's camping all around this bowl where they have the concerts, and it's on like this little lake, and there's like camping and vending, and it's like the place where they play music. There's like all these trees around it, and literally like there's so much energy in this plot of land and in this area that the trees like breathe. It just has like its own energy feel to it. I mean, it's amazing. I've only seen Cheese there, but I've seen them there a lot, and some of my favorite weekends ever.
That's cool. That sounds magical.
Yeah, no, it's really incredible. So hopefully it'll happen someday.
Keep our fingers crossed. Put it out in the universe. It'll happen. We'll see.
Yes. And a full weekend of them is what I'd like, more than like going all the way up there for a weekend or for one set.
One set, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I have one final question for you. Describe Umphrey's Mcgee in 3 words.
That's a good question. Magical, transformational,
I like it.
and beautiful.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are. Like I feel like when we go to concerts and we see music that we can transform our lives. We truly can. Like, we have the ability to release what we want to get rid of, and to embrace and choose what it is that we decide that we want. And a lot of times it's like this weekend of shows, or this show, as we're looking forward to something, and we're going and we're traveling and we're driving or whatever it is, it's like we feel like this is going to help us, whether it's the release from our everyday life, or just a release in general of what we're ready to get rid of. And that's what Umphrey's Mcgee, that's what live music in general, not just Umphrey's Mcgee, but in general, it's like, oh, I'm going to this show, or, oh, I gotta get over this stuff, or I'm going through a hard time and I need to release it. And how is that going to happen? It's like, oh, I'm going to go to these fish shows, or I'm going to go to this run of shows, or whoever it is. Some people, that's other bands, and that's all vibrational for them. But where can we release? Where can we fill our cup so that we can have that spillover to help and be of service in a bigger way? Because we are all here to be of service and to help others in any way possible. It doesn't have to be that you're helping by being a life coach. It doesn't have to be that you're helping by being a doctor or a nurse. It's truly like, how can you be of service? Like, serving somebody a meal is being of service. Somebody serving a drink, somebody taking your order, somebody answering a phone, somebody making that appointment at your doctor's office. No matter what it is, we don't all have to be doctors and lawyers, but we can be of service. Some people, just being of service is being really nice in the grocery store and smiling to people, and just being caring and loving human beings. And so we're here with our light, no matter how we want to share it. It wants to be shared. We want to live in joy. Like, we can live in joy and bliss and happiness and harmony and so much magic and music and wonderful things that happen in our lives. We can also choose the opposite. And it is a choice. Like, it is a choice. The way that we look at things is a choice. The way that we just make choices for what it is that we want and what we feel like we should or have to do. And so, it's all a choice. What do we want? What do we want? And right now is a great time to, like, go inside and really tune in and figure out what it is that we want.
Absolutely. You're so amazing. I love talking to you and getting your energy and your insight. And I just always, even when we're on the phone, I'm always like just nodding my head and agreeing with you, because you're absolutely right. And I'm grateful for your friendship and your help in all of my crazy. So thank you so much for.
That's what I'm here to do. That's what brings me joy. And I love to talk with people. We don't all have to be like broken and in crisis to have a life coach or for healing in general. Like, we don't have to be curled up in a ball in the corner for us to grow and heal. Like, we can heal as we're already getting it, or maybe we just have like this one thing, or it doesn't matter how it is that we choose to heal deeper, because we're always healing until we literally die. We are healing up until that day. And so we have things that we're going through. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be a mess right now. It's okay to reach out and like use this time for healing, because one of the things that I do is I work with people through transformation in general. So it doesn't always have to look one way, or like, oh, when I ... then I'll be able to heal, or when I get to this, or when I have more time, or when I have more money, or and that's just our ego mind trying to get us to stay stuck, because it loves to keep us stuck. And so it's a matter of making a choice and being like, okay, I would love to change this little thing about me, or I want to change everything, or just your peace of mind. And so it truly can be just as simple as changing our mind process to seeing the good, or healing this little part of us from that we have these patterns, because generally we all have patterns that keep showing up, whether it's, people keep lying to us, or we're not worthy of love, or we're not worthy of a job, or we're not worthy of a partner, or I'm not lovable, or we have these deeply rooted belief systems. And so we need to get to the point where we want to change our thinking. We want to change, like, that is not serving me any longer. And so, especially right now, as we're forced to slow down, we're forced to tune in, we're forced to connect with ourselves and with the people that we love, and to see the beauty around us, because we can look at it from a glass half full, and we can look at this as a glass empty, because truly there's 1,000 things that we could be afraid of right now. And then there's 1,000 things that we can be extremely grateful for. And so it's a matter of looking at those, choosing to see those, and to release the fear, because the fear is only stressing us out, and focusing on what brings us any amount of joy right now, any amount of joy, and moving away from the other things. Because if we are watching the news and it is stressing us out, we need to either watch a different news, or we need to change how we're getting our information. Because if you notice, and that's doing your work, is paying attention to how you feel. So if we are, every time we start watching the news, we start crying, or as an empath, I do that a lot. So it's like, am I drained? Am I energized after doing this? Like, do you pop on your Facebook page and, like, all of a sudden now you're in a horrible mood? Well, if that's the case, then maybe you should follow some different people and hide some things, because we shouldn't be doing things, or it's not in our best interest to do things that are draining us right now. And really, like, going with the flow of it. If I was to give anybody advice on how to get through this quarantine, moving back into when things are opening, and going back into our now normal life, because this is our new normal. Like, there is no going back. We can't go back. There is no back button in life. There's just not. There's no rewind. And so if we're going to go into our new way of thinking, our new way of being, we have to go at it from the perspective that that this has all happened for us and not to us, that this is unfolding in our highest good, and that we can change some things in our life very, very easily now, because we're seeing it all from a completely different perspective. So now we're seeing things differently, and to just go with the flow and honor where you are and what you're feeling. Because nobody else is going to deal with this illness. Nobody else is going to deal with the chatter in your brain. And if every time you leave the house and you're freaked out because you're not wearing a mask, or that person is wearing a mask and I'm not wearing a mask, or whatever it is that's like the chatter in your brain, or maybe I shouldn't go to work, or whatever it is, we just have to honor our feelings. Notice the emotions that are coming up. Pay attention to what they are, because they're here to heal, and they want you to grow and to feel them. And just, if you're having a down day, I have a lot of down days, and then on some days you're going to be super energetic and just go with it and be do as much as you can. And then other days, if you're not feeling it, just not feel it and curl up with some Netflix and have some fun. Because that's, you know, we have that option too. And that's not to say that everybody's at home, because they're not. But in general, we still really need to go with it. And there's a lot of people out there who, like myself, are energetically sensitive and empathic. And so as all of this is unfolding, it's like, who does this belong to? Ask that. Like, is this mine? Is that my stuff? Or is this even, is this the collective energy of what's going on? Because a lot of that is clouding our judgment of like, why am I so tired? Why am I not getting this done? Why do I still have a to-do list that only has 3 things crossed off 6 weeks later? You know,
Yeah.
we all have them. We all do, myself included, you know? And so it's like some of it, I think, is paying attention to what you said you would do when you had more time. And then now that you have more time, you're still not doing it. And that's fine. You know, it's like, oh, when I have more time, I'm going to read that book. And it was like, have you been reading that book? No. You know? And I think that paying attention to what it is on your to-do list that you keep procrastinating and saying that you'll do when you have more time, and then not getting to it when you do have time, is where we need to pay somebody to do it. Find somebody to do it for us. Because some people love to sit down at a computer with numbers and to do your books and your taxes. Some people love it. I personally think it's torture. That's just me, you know? And there's certain things that's like, some people would love to like sit down and like do this creative project. And it's like, okay, great. Well, that's where we find people to do things. And that's the joy part. If we're going to have more joy in our life, we have to create more space for that. And so the things that we love to do that bring us joy, if there is no time for that because you're doing these things that drive you crazy, then you're never going to be happier. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah. So we really need to like find out what we don't want to do and find somebody to do it. And that's how we have more joy. And that's how we can live in more bliss. Because otherwise, in our brain, we think, oh my God, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And it's like, after the 140th day of you telling yourself that, you're going to start, you know, having some negative responses to these things, seeing that on that list again, where you could have paid somebody maybe $20 to do that. You know, it's like not a big deal, or $100 or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But another thing is as we grow and transform, I feel like it's important too to pay attention to the way that things change in you. Because as we change and transform, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I didn't think I liked to clean. And then you start cleaning now as like a changed person or as an adult, you know, because we may have these belief systems from when we were a kid of like, oh, I don't like to clean, or I don't like amusement parks, or I don't like dogs, or whatever it is, you know? So as we change and grow, we have to allow ourselves the option and the realization that we have changed. So a lot of this is changing us, and we need to like open up our eyes to really see how we can change and what we want to change.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for just your energy all the time, but today, and for sharing all that, because I know that there's going to be a lot of people listening and watching that are going to need to hear exactly what you said. And I'll admit, it definitely is exactly what I needed to hear today too. So not surprised that's what came out of you. If anybody wants to connect with you, let us know how they can do that.
You can find me on Facebook at Mindy Lutch Coaching, MindyLutch Coaching. And then there's also MindyLutchCoaching.com, which is a great way to kind of read about the different work that I do, the different programs that I offer. And basically it is spiritual transformation and transforming your life. And then my jewelry line is Divine Healing Jewelry. There's divinehealingjewelry.com, which is mostly my music inspired silver creations because they're recreatable. And then Divine Healing Jewelry on Facebook has most of my has my music silver stuff and my gemstone stuff, so you can see the powerful healing gemstones, which is one of my favorite things. Yeah, so that's the easiest way to connect. I am on Instagram too. I'm starting that journey and figuring all that out, and that's Mindy Lutch Coaching as well. But I would love to connect with any of you guys who is feeling called to spiritually transform their lives and to look at things from universal healing perspective, and to be able to tune in and make a choice that they want to change. And truly, even just a one session with me and chatting and getting to figure out what it is that you want, because a lot of people just need clarity. So I do offer strategy sessions with people for free, especially right now. I have some extra time, so generally that's just for friends, but I consider everybody in the Umphrey's family my friend and family. So reach out either through the website or you can shoot me a message on Facebook. But I would love to connect with you guys, and we truly are one beautiful family. So if you're hearing this, or if you know me and you've been thinking about wanting to do that, now is a good time. I have a lot more free time these days. And just in general, like if you are getting that call, or if you know me and you have always wondered, just reach out. Like, it's your time to do your work and to do some healing, and it can be fun and it can be joyful. Like, as you know, like they're not painful sessions, they're fun and inspiring. So now is the time to feel inspired, and I want everybody to have a little bit of inspiration in their life and healing, and knowing that you're doing your work and you're doing what you have to.
Absolutely. Well, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much for your time and
you're so
your energy and sharing everything about your story. Just thank you.
Well, I appreciate you and your podcast and your friendship, and you being you and shining your light and keeping all of us entertained in these moments as well, and sticking with it and doing your thing,
Thank you.
I commend you for that.
Thank you. It's been an interesting journey, and I'm so grateful to have this and bring this to everybody, but to connect with all of these amazing people, and it's such an awesome thing. So,
oh, yay. Well, you know where I am. I will talk to you soon.
yes, thank you. This was super awesome.
Frankie says hi.